Good morning, everyone. We're just about to get started. Just give it another minute or two, and then we will kick things off. Just wait for folks to join.
While we're waiting, it's not wonderful to see how many people have joined so far, and I'd like to acknowledge all of our colleagues as well from the SMART partnership who are joining us. Hi, everyone, and as well as quite a few names that we recognize there. So looking forward to showcasing Smart Mobile for you.
Yeah, I think we could probably just get started now. So, on behalf of all the panelists, welcome to the webinar we're doing today on Smart Mobile. Calling it "How Can Smart Mobile Help You?" And we're going to go over the applications and the functionality of the new tool which we've developed, which we're really excited about. It's been a culmination of a lot of work over a long time. So we're really excited to share this all with you today. So just quickly, sort of to give a sense of what we're going to be talking about today, we'll do a short introduction here in the beginning, and then I'm going to pass it over to Tony Lynham from WCS, and he's going to be giving an overview of Smart Mobile, just sort of high level of what's new. And then we'll be passing over to Denton Joachim from Peace Parks and James Slade from Global Wildlife Conservation, and they're going to be walking you through an actual demonstration of the application itself. And then we're going to have three really exciting case studies from the field, from Zia Stevens in Zambia, from Zangir Alam with WCS Bangladesh, and from Alex Wyatt with WWF in Cambodia. And then at the end, we're going to try to do to answer as many questions as we can. So just a note on questions, we have a lot of people in the call today, and so rather than trying to handle chat live, any questions and Q&A live, we're gonna push all Q&A to the end. We do have the Q&A function enabled either at the bottom or the top of your screen, depending on what platform you're watching it on. But throughout the webinar today, feel free to submit any questions you think you'd like an answer to, or any information you might want to ask us. All participants have the opportunity to upvote questions. So if you see a question that you think relates to your site, or you just feel strongly about, just click on the little thumbs up. And then at the end, we're going to go through and we're going to try to answer the highest ranked questions first. We'll try to get through as many as we can. Depending on time, that might be 2, that might be 20, we'll see. But then once the webinar's over, we're going to take as many questions as we can that we didn't answer, and we'll put them up on the SMART community forum as well, which we'll come back to for those of you that are unfamiliar with it. So again, just make sure if you do have questions to put them in the Q&A, to submit in the Q&A, and we'll try to answer those as best we can at the end of this session. All right, we've got someone monitoring that just now, so hopefully we won't miss anything important. So like I said, just to introduce everybody again really quickly. I don't want to get too deeply into this because we're not important, the tool is. My name is Drew Cronin. I'm from the North Carolina Zoo. We've got Tony from WCS who will be speaking after me. Yeah, if you guys could just wave, that'd be great. Denton from Peace Parks, James Slade from Global Wildlife Conservation, Zia Stevens from Panthera in Zambia, Zangir from WCS Bangladesh, Alex Wyatt from WWF, and Monica Harris, who is the new SMART Partnership Program Manager. So that's who you'll be speaking with today. Our contact information is there, and just as an FYI, this is being recorded, and we'll post it after the fact. We don't know exactly where we'll post it yet, but we'll be sharing the information on the posting with everybody who's attended or registered. So yeah, our contact information is there. So if you do have a follow-up specifically with us, you can follow up there. So let me just jump into it. I was going to talk really briefly about SMART. I mean, hopefully, if you're on the call today, you're at least somewhat familiar with SMART. So generally speaking, SMART is, most people consider it sort of like a law enforcement tool, conservation law enforcement tool. We consider it much more than that. It's a partnership of 9 conservation organizations. There's the technology, obviously, which is a strong portion of what we do, but then it's also supporting sites in the field and around the world, and then standards. So we're trying to help sites streamline and standardize their work in the field in order to sort of improve the effectiveness and improve the deployment of resources on the ground. And that's really the mission of SMART. So it's to improve the effectiveness of protected areas, and that might be a formally protected area or a community conserved area. But we want to empower the practitioners on the ground with the technology, the services, and the skills to make better use of their resources. It's all about making the best use of the resources on hand for the greatest conservation benefit. So SMART is this holistic protected area management system. So we've got a mobile, desktop, and online platform, and then we've got a whole host of applications that can be applied for conservation practice. There's lots of different functionalities and modules in SMART, and they all facilitate the adaptive management cycle, which you can see here on the left. And that goes from data collection in the field with mobile, which we're talking about today, to automated data entry, semi-automated analysis and reporting, and then strategic planning, which allows you to adapt your patrol strategies on the fly. And like I said, typically it's been used as a conservation law enforcement monitoring tool, and that's measuring patrol efforts, documenting results of patrols, knowing where wildlife are. But the flexibility and functionalities of the tool have allowed it to be used much more broadly, from monitoring utility usage in Southern Africa to recording human-wildlife conflict to the sort of bread and butter of conservation law enforcement. There's a whole host of ways it's been applied, and we'll only touch on some of those today, but I think for anybody that's interested, it's definitely worth checking out the materials on the SMART website and seeing the ways that SMART has been applied in lots of different situations around the world. So that flexibility and really building on word of mouth and ground level success has led SMART to become the global leading protected area management solution. It's used in over 850 sites around the world in terrestrial and marine environments, and that's from, like I said, from small community conservancies up through national protected area systems and adopted by the government. And so it's really become a leading tool in the space. I think you'll see, through the rest of the webinar today, what we do is we're trying to build a tool that works really well for practitioners on the ground. And I think the results speak for themselves in terms of the numbers of adoption around the world. So just quickly, this is a massive undertaking. Obviously, a lot of people on the call today. We wouldn't be able to do it without all the support we've had throughout the years. We're not going to get into specific funders, but we've had a lot of really great partners through the years and a lot of significant funding. And so, thanks always to them. And then I'll just wrap up on my end with, we're really excited to share this with you today. We think that SMART is a really useful tool for practitioners on the ground. Obviously, that's why we're sharing it with you today. But again, I think the results speak for themselves. It's a successful tool. It's reaching around the globe, and it's become the global leader in the space. And the way that we've reached that level is focusing on pragmatic solutions that will have an impact on the ground, and that way the ownership comes from the practitioners in the field. And as well, what also helps is that it's freely available, and we produce a lot of materials for the field as well. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Tony and we'll get into the meat of what we're talking about today with Smart Mobile.
Thank you, Drew. In the rest of this presentation, I'll provide an overview of the new features of Smart Mobile that make it an improvement over CyberTracker or differentiate it from other data recording solutions. And hopefully this will motivate some of you to move across and try it out at your field sites. Smart Mobile has been under development for a couple of years, and this development has been done with the practitioners in mind. And the features I'm going to describe are all things identified as things that needed to be improved in the existing CyberTracker app, or things that were lacking in existing other data recording tools, and specific items that came in as requests from the user community. So we think we've developed the best solution for capturing field conservation data. Next slide. Well, Smart Mobile has a modern, easy to use user interface, which comes with options for using an extensive suite of built-in icons and support for using icons you may have created and want to use. There is also support for multiple languages, including Unicode languages that were previously not available in CyberTracker. The state-of-the-art mapping in Smart Mobile includes the ability to complement online base maps with offline maps generated directly from the Smart Desktop. And Smart Mobile now has advanced mapping and navigation functions, including the ability to navigate to previous observations and to see a detailed history of sightings. Next slide. Now, patrols that are recorded in Smart Mobile can be multi-leg patrols, and it's now possible to change metadata of the patrol while the patrol is in progress. So, for example, one can change the leader of the patrol, or the mandate, or the transport type during the patrol. Also, patrols can now be easily paused and resumed, and when paused, the track timer is disconnected, and this ensures that Smart delivers an even more accurate measure of effort. Smart Mobile also has a desktop demo version for Windows, which works exactly the same as the mobile version that can be used for training. The GPS simulation can be customized for your location as part of your training course. Now, we've built a robust kiosk mode that locks the device for use only by Smart Mobile. Kiosk mode can be exited with a PIN. Smart Mobile has the ability to customize the look and appearance from within Smart, and you can select theme colors and your own project icon. Now, during or outside of the patrol or survey, observations can be recorded independently from a patrol or survey as independent incidents, and these observations are recorded in Smart. Next slide. So here we can see the user interface, and it's a really easy to use interface. It looks really good. There's common smartphone navigation controls, there's support for multiple languages, and there's a dark mode. So very easy to use. We've built in state-of-the-art mapping, and this includes the ability to complement online base maps with offline maps generated directly from the Smart Desktop. It's possible, as I said before, to navigate to previous observations, and this feature turns Smart Mobile into a functional navigation device. So the patrol type can now be changed while the patrol is in progress, and patrols can be easily paused and resumed. And when the paused track timer is disconnected, this ensures that Smart delivers a really accurate track log. Next slide. It's very easy to record multiple observations. This is another new feature. You can quickly record an observation for a particular incident and then add as many additional observations as you need to, and then save the entire set of observations with one click of the Save button. So, for example, you can record details of a person encountered, then details about a camp, weapons or equipment, a wildlife carcass, and actions taken by the patrol team. Next slide. So we've built in a tight integration with Smart Connects, and this facilitates real-time alerts and response. The data model on the device may be configured to send alerts from the field direct to the Connect instance via Wi-Fi or a 3G network, and this permits visualization of observations of importance to management, allowing faster responses. So that wraps up the description of the features of Smart Mobile. For more information, you can find us on the web or on Twitter or email. And the best resource for questions, of course, is the Smart Forum. So we'll have this slide up again at the end of the session so folks can see the links again. We'll also include them in a follow-up to all people who registered for the webinar today. Back to you, Drew.
Great, thanks, Sony. All right, so let's just keep on moving it along, and I will pass it over to Denton and James. Just bear with me for a second. There we go. Great.
Okay. So welcome everybody. So I'm just gonna walk through the basic workflow of going from Smart, creating a configurable model, and then doing a few changes within the configurable model, and then actually sending it to the device. James will then walk through collection on the device, and then we will look at importing the information back into Smart Desktop. So the interface is very similar. Under conservation area, you've got the configurable model option. Now I've already created something, so you can create new and start from blank or whatever you would like to do. But I'll just go from here. I create a blank one and I add categories. So now the categories that I'm interested in, for example, adding is transportation, and I add it there. So as it comes into the configurable model, you can click on this title, and on the right hand side here, you can see the display mode options on the right. So I would like to say text and image, and then the icon set is full color. So what Smart has got now is they've got a repository of icons that are pre-configured in that as a user you can use, so that it will be more visually appealing on the devices itself as well. So I can change the display mode to text and image. So what that will do is it'll show the people indirect sign as text and then the icon that's associated with it there. Now the same thing in here is with the different attributes. So I've got a list attribute here, trail, footprint, etc. I can actually edit this here and change the icon if I want to, the name, as well as the display, whether it's text or image, etc. So I'm happy with what I've got right now. And so the next thing I want to do is just change a few details or the way in which it is displayed, for example, on the device itself. So I would then go to Cyber Tracker, and you can create profiles here. I'm going to edit this specific profile and just make sure that I've got a few settings that are clicked on. So like auto radio next, which means my navigation between the different pages is a little bit easier. I can turn the simple camera off, so that means it'll actually use the camera of the device. I'm just going to change the photos per observation to 4. And you can also change some settings here. So the track timer can be 300 seconds. I'm going to use 40 and then just change the decimal degrees here. So once I'm happy with that, I can click Save. Now, when I've got a Connect instance, I actually go to the same configurable model Smart Connect side of things. I would say actually upload the data every so many minutes. Now what that's going to do is if I'm in a connected environment or the device is connected, it's going to send the information to the server every 10 minutes. I can actually click on one of these and add a new alert that'll pop up on the right, that those configurations model, and then will get sent to the server if there is updates. If I want to track the device on Connect, I can actually create an alert of position and send the position every defined minutes. I've created a second configurable model here called independent incidences. Now this is potential data that I might find while I'm in the field, but it's not necessarily part of my main configurable model. And I'm going to show you now why that's important here. So now that I've got my configurable model designed exactly the way I want it, I'm actually going to send it to the device. The first thing I'm going to do is click on Field Data and go to Smart Mobile options here. The first thing you do is you got to install the Smart Mobile onto the device. So if I click Smart Mobile Install on Device, a window pops up like this. And now I have to actually specify the APK file. So the APK file is defined as the installation file for that specific app. So if I click on these three dots, I navigate to it. Now I've already downloaded it and I've stored it on my desktop. And you can download this from the Smart website as well. So the build in this case is 276. So I show that that's the path, and I click Next. Now there's two options here: configure mobile to device, upload it, and then there's also Smart Mobile as a kiosk. The kiosk mode, like Tony said, is a little bit more secure. I'm going to just choose the top one first and click Next. So now I've plugged in my device, and you can see my phone has arrived up within this window here. Now I don't want to connect it, don't want it to send to my SD card, but I do have that option. So I'm going to unclick the SD card and just then choose copy application to the selected devices. Okay.
Just sorry to interrupt. We can't see the window that you're displaying there at the moment.
Sorry. Can you see this now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So when I connect my device, this is the window that pops up, and it will show you the specific device. You click on the device and you say copy the application to the selected devices. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to send that to the device. It's to say that it's succeeded, and you click OK. Once you finish that, you can click Finish. And then you are now you go onto the device itself, and you actually go to the root of the folder and you install it from the device itself. Once you have finished that process, you come back, you click Smart Mobile, and you export the patrol package. Can you guys see the screen now?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. So the export location will be by default, select the device. My configurable model, all of the ones that I've created are going to be an option there. So I'm going to choose this first one. The property profile, I'm going to leave it as default. Now this base map options, if you've created a base map, for example, in Smart itself, you can actually define it here. So I can say that this Smart map that you see in the background gets sent to the device. So I've got an offline base map. So depending on what you've got, shape files or how it looks here, it can be exactly the same on the device itself as well. What you can do as well is you can create a zoom, minimum and maximum. It'll affect the amount of tiles, and that's the packaged weight that will be sent to the device. Or I can actually create and send custom files, as you see in the blue option here. So right now I'm just going to use the base map at the background. Now I've also got the option to collect independent incidents, which is by default turned off, but I'm going to turn it on. and choose the second configurable model, so that if I am in the field collecting my data and I see something that is not in my configurable model, I can still collect that information within this independent instance, and it will be brought in to SMART under that section when I import the information. So once I'm happy with this, I just click export and it'll send this entire package to my device so that I can go out into the field and collect my information. Okay, James, over to you.
Thanks, Denton. Once you export your configurable model to your device, you should end up seeing your window like this, which is where all of your configurable models that sit. So you can have more than one configurable model, as Denton mentioned, within your device if you have different mandates such as law enforcement, or you're also doing biological monitoring, and you want to be able to streamline that information down to just what you need for that specific activity. When you go into your new version, or your configurable model, you will see the window that looks basically like this. This is where gives you all those initial options before you've started the patrol. Your settings window here, you'll see that you can change the patrol language or the incident language if those have been put into your system. And you'll see that you can go back and change project, which is basically going and changing your configurable model here. One thing that you should note as well is that you'll see that there's still quite a lot of overlap between where it says Smart Mobile and Cyber Tracker. So Smart Mobile is not entirely a replacement for Cyber Tracker. It's actually just an advance. So you'll see that Smart Mobile is powered by Cyber Tracker. So for those of you who are familiar with Cyber Tracker, there's not a lot of difference when it comes down to the base core of the system. It's just the display and the overall functionality where we've tried to make improvements on Cyber Tracker based on feedback from the SMART community. So when you get in and you look at all of your different options here, one of the first big changes that you'll notice is the differences in the maps. So here I've got my protected area map, and you'll see that this is the base map that has been downloaded directly from the conservation area, as well as the inclusion of different layers such as OpenStreetMap. You can pick and choose which types of map layers you want to use, but for many of these online maps, you will need to be connected either through a mobile connection or through Wi-Fi. You can also go and view some of the information that has been collected using the history setting here. And for those of you who are using Smart Connect, you'll see that this will be highlighted in order to allow you to collect to send information from the device to Smart Connect. So that's what the export data function does. If you're using the independent incidents, you will see that this will be highlighted as well, where you can report an incident. What that does is that allows users to collect that information without having to start a patrol. So you're not necessarily on patrol, but you still want the ability to collect information. You can do that using report incident. Here to show an example of how that works is I haven't started a patrol. I'm simply going straight in to collecting information. And this is a good opportunity to show that, like Tony mentioned, we've made significant improvements into the way that different languages are displayed. So we did have issues with some languages before with special characters, and you'll see here that that has, for the most part, been fixed with the newer versions of Smart Mobile. So going into our example here, much like Cyber Tracker, when you go to begin your patrol, you would select Start Patrol, and you'll see here that even though I'm using the simulator, you have the ability to pick up your location first of all. So once your location has been found, you'll see that it is picked up here, and you can begin to put in your metadata. So I would simply go through very similar to the way that Cyber Tracker was laid out, with the exception that you're not going through each section screen by screen. You're simply just scrolling down and able to put in your information as you go in one setting. Okay. Once your patrol has begun, you will do the same as before, where you'll just get this simple window here, which allows you to make observations. You can go back and review historical information that's been collected. You can review your map, or you can go in and you can set an incident that is independent from the patrol here. To make an observation, you click, you can see where the icons are here, and you can go through and you can make any observation that you like, which will then bring you to this screen here. You can see the observation that has been made. You have the choice of making an additional observation, or you can save this observation here by clicking on the save function in the bottom right-hand corner. You'll see that that is highlighted in green when you have information waiting to be saved. So you need to make sure that you click save each time in order to take that waypoint. To make multiple observations, it's as simple as going through, selecting the different features that you want for your observation, and then adding an additional observation. There you can see we've got multiple observations which can be saved under the same point, thereby creating an incident as opposed to just an observation in SMART, multiple observations around the same waypoint. That was one of the most request features that we had in the advancement of Smart Mobile, was to allow you to be able to change metadata on the fly. So when you're doing your patrol, if you need to switch from a foot patrol, for example, to a vehicle-based patrol, you can do that without having to stop and restart a whole new patrol. This really allows users to create longer patrols, multi-leg patrols, without having to break up and stop and restart with all of that new metadata. You also have the ability for those who might be working at night to toggle the dark theme, or just for those of you who prefer to use your dark theme as opposed to the standard version. So you can simply do that by toggling back and forth between those different functions. You also have the ability to pause patrol while you're there. So you can pause a patrol and restart as you need if you're stopping for a break, or you need to pause the patrol for whatever reason. And then you can resume the patrol as soon as you're ready, making sure that you go back, it will reset your location, and you can reset your metadata if you need to before you resume the patrol. The benefits of Smart Mobile include many of these different abilities, although you'll see that some of the observations are somewhat different in the way that you are not going through things screen by screen. Again, you've got more of an ongoing rolling function in which you can put in all of your information and collect it that way. Once you are finished up with your patrol, you will come through and you can end the patrol simply here. Ending the patrol is the same way it was done in Cyber Tracker. You confirm the end of the patrol. It will take a final location point for you, and then that will save the patrol. You can then import it back into your desktop, which Denton will show you in a moment, or if you're using Smart Connect, you can use this function to export it into the cloud. One of the last features of Smart Mobile, which was requested from the community, is our ability to be able to change different themes, different styles. So using this as an example here, you can see that with this specific database here, that I've changed the style, I've changed the color and the way that the system looks. And you can really get in and change a lot of your observation features to have things such as your own unique icons, as Tony discussed, or use the smart ones. And to take a photograph in Smart Mobile, you'll see that you have the function up here. So as soon as you record your information, you can click the photograph function. It will allow you to take that photograph. And then once you've got all of your data, you can go through and again, save that information. Once you're done, you can end that patrol. Once again, making sure that you confirm to end the patrol. And from there, you can then, like I said, import your information back into the system. Denton, I'll hand it back over to you, and you can show our users how to import their data.
Cool. So now that the devices have come back to the computer, you just plug it in the same way as you did with Cyber Tracker, and you go Field Data, Smart Mobile, and you import. So we'll then get, can you see the screen? So you'll get an option to import from device, files, or archive. Normally the device will be turned on by default because that's the one that you would like to bring the data off of. And I click import. And that error, sorry, was just because I had different alerts on it which didn't work. So once it's detected the information or the file itself on the device, you'll see that this window pops up, and you actually either create a new patrol or add to existing patrol. Now this is exactly the same way as that you normally see it within the Cyber Tracker side of things. It just looks a little bit different here. So I'm just going to create a new patrol and click OK, and an error because I didn't save my patrol correctly. But what happens is it comes into this specific window here, and I just click on the files that I would like and click import. What that does is that it will then bring it into the left-hand side here, and it'll show up as a patrol here. So from there, you can then do the verification process and actually open up the patrol and review the different information that has been collected. Cool. So that's the basic workflow again. Windows looks slightly different, but the concept is still very much the same. Thank you.
Great, thanks guys. That's really helpful. So there's a number of you are starting to submit questions, and some of them are really good. Some of them are quick, which we're just answering on the fly, but a lot of the questions are great. So just a reminder that if you do have questions, to submit them in the Q&A, and folks can upvote them, and then we will come back to them in the Q&A session at the end. So just now I'm going to go over to Alex Wyatt, and he's going to walk us through another demonstration.
Hello everyone, I am just sharing my screen now. So what I'm going to go through with everyone is the alerts function in Smart Mobile and Smart Connect. So I'm just going to run through what these alerts are, the use of these alerts, and I'm going to do a quick demonstration on how to create these alerts using the Connect interface, how to link these alerts to a configurable model, and I'll demonstrate the creation of alerts live in real time and cover some of the requirements that you'll need to use the alerts function. So what are the alerts? So alerts are a function available to Smart Connect users, and they're essentially small data packages that are associated with particular observations in your Smart Mobile using your Smart Data model. So when these observations are made in the field, the data package is sent to your Smart Connect server and displayed in as close to real time as permitted by internet connectivity as an alert on an operational map. And Smart Mobile can also send off an alert for the position of your device. So I'll just open up my Smart Connect interface. So what are the point of these alerts? Alerts allow you to link your day-to-day smart observations to a real-time operational map. The map is visible through the Smart Connect interface, which you'll access via any internet browser. And here on my screen, you'll see some alerts for a site in Eastern Cambodia. And let me zoom in a little bit. So our site is here. I actually am currently located here, and you'll notice there's no alerts right now. So if I zoom in a little bit, you can see these alerts a little bit better. So we can actually filter out what kind of alerts we want to see and the duration. So some of these filters include the dates. So you can filter just very recent alerts, or you can filter all of your alerts and everything in between. And you can filter in and out any of the alert types that are of interest to you. In addition, you can filter out unimportant alerts, or you can filter just the alerts that you want to see with the highest importance, and alerts from specific conservation areas. So Smart Connect can host a bunch of different conservation areas. And if you're only interested in seeing alerts from 1 or 2, you can select them here.
Alex, just a quick comment. The alerts we can't see on your screen, so just.
Oh.
Yeah, we're just seeing the Smart Desktop.
Sorry, it's only letting me share the window.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. So I'll go back a moment. So this is the Smart Connect interface, and these are the alerts. So this is Cambodia here. I'm based here, and this is where the project sites are. So these are the alerts that are coming through, and on the right is what I was mentioning about the filters. So here's the date filter. Here's the alert type filter. So if I'm only interested in seeing some, I can filter some out. And here's the importance and conservation areas, as I mentioned, that you couldn't see. So if I zoom into the map, any of these alerts that I'm interested in, I can actually click on, and it'll give me a little bit of information about type of alert, what happened at that location, the date, and the location. So this allows management to be able to see what's happening in close to real time by simply having the alert screen open on a computer monitor. So this real-time information is sent from the smart mobile devices directly to the screen, which allows management to keep track of the patrol teams and spot any important observations as they come through. So this can influence actions taken by management, who can immediately communicate with their field teams once they see an alert that is important. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to create a new alert. So first thing you need to do is in your Smart Connect, you go to Settings. And we have a section here called Alert Types and Styles. So what I'm going to do is create a new alert type. And I'm just going to call this Demo. So this is the name of the alert that will come through on the map. And I'll fill in some of the settings here and select an icon. So this is the type of icon that will show. I'm going to pick a car and pick a nice bright color, and also decide whether this icon will spin when it comes on the map, just to draw attention to it. So once I'm happy with that, I click Create New Type, and you'll see that my new demo alert is available here. So before I continue, what I want to do is make sure that my new alert shows as default on the map whenever I have my alert screen open. So if I just quickly refresh my screen and scroll down, you can see in this section here, default filter settings. I want to show my new alert as default. So once I click that and save, and I go back to my alert screen, you'll see that now I have my new demo type here. So that is the creation of the alert in Smart Connect, but that still won't do anything. What we need to do is link it to our configurable model. So let me just switch screens again. So here's my conservation area. So this is actually my current location. This is the city that I'm in. And I'm going to edit my configurable model, which will then be exported to the device. So if I open up my configurable model, as Denton just did before, I'm going to edit one of these here. So if I open up this one here, click on Edit. And as Denton showed you, these are the categories that will be available on your smart mobile device. So what I'm interested in right now is the Smart Connect tab here. So once I open this up, just to make sure that all my new alert types are available, I'm going to hit refresh alert types, and my smart desktop will talk to my server and pull back all of my alert types. So nothing actually happens, but it's now available. So what I want to do is link my new alert type to a particular observation, so that whenever my field team selects the observation, an alert will come up on my screen. So I'm going to use the people observation here and select my new alert type. And this is where we select the importance, which will be used in the filter in Smart Connect. So I'll make this very important. Okay, and then in this list, you'll see these are my alerts that are linked to this configurable model. We'll just do one for now, but you can link as many as you like. So before I continue, I want to make sure that my device is telling me the location every 1 minute. So I select the interval of 1 minute here. And I actually need to have pre-configured an alert type for this as well, which I've done as position. So this means every 1 minute, my position will be sent via my device to the Connect server. So I would then click Save and Close. And as Denton showed you, I would then export my new patrol package, selecting the correct configurable model, and export that to my device. So what I'm going to do is quickly do that and select the observation, and we'll see if it comes up on the screen. So I'll switch back to my alerts map. And I'm just going to select the observation after I've exported. Just making sure I have GPS signal. And I'm just going to select, make sure that my position is working. And you can see there's a new alert here. So this is where I am right now, and this is my current position. And if I get that out the way, you can also see that we have a brand new alert, a nice spinning pink icon, which is telling me that a demo has happened in my house. So that's how to set up the alerts. And some tips: you can basically configure alerts to work however you like. For example, in Cambodia, instead of using a generic position alert for the position of the device, we've created alerts for every individual team, which will be exported to a specific configurable model, so we can keep track of every individual team as they're in the field. And there are some prerequisites for using alerts. They're only available to Smart Connect users. And for the alerts to show in real time, you need devices, the devices need to be able to access the internet. So your conservation area will need some cellular GSM coverage to some degree if you want the alerts to come through in close to real time. And if the observation is made outside of a network connection, the alert will only show once the device obtains a network. So in this case, it would be an alert, but not quite in real time. Okay, that's alerts.
Great, thanks, Alex. Exciting that you've now showed everyone exactly where your house is. So thanks. I'm going to pass it over to Zia now, and she's going to talk to us about her work in Zambia.
Cool. Thank you, Drew. And thank you, everyone. It's lovely to be on this call. I have the exciting task of showing you all how we're currently using Smart Mobile in the field in Zambia and Zimbabwe. Just as a heads up, we are at the moment currently changing all of our cyber tracker devices over to being onto Smart Mobile now. So we're currently in that process right now. So this is a bit of a presentation based on what we've done so far and how we've been finding it's helping us. Next slide, please, Drew. Cool. So like Drew was saying at the very beginning of the call, when we talk about smart mobile, mostly people are thinking about anti-poaching patrols and ground patrols on the ground. We use smart mobile for lots of that, but also there are so many other things we can use smart mobile for, which are very exciting and are also there to hopefully make your life as easy as possible. So for myself here in Zambia, we use smart mobile for our anti-poaching patrols. We use it a lot for human-wildlife conflict. I personally use it for our biodiversity monitoring, and also we have various citizen science programs that are also using smart mobile across Southern Africa. Next slide, please, Drew. Cool. So first of all, I'll just talk about our anti-poaching patrols because lots of us are likely interested in this. So yeah, we go out on anti-poaching patrols. All of our teams carry the devices. Drew, sorry, you can go next slide. So all of our patrols go in the field for about 21 days, which is quite a long time. And so one of the main things to know is that, yes, it is possible to use a device in the field for that long. Obviously, one of the questions we get asked the most is how can we go in the field for so long and still be able to use such a powerful technology? So yes, our patrols go in the field for 21 days. They carry a Blackview device, a power bank, and a solar charger to keep that running. We use a combination of foot, vehicle, boat, bicycle, and also aerial patrols, and this all gets captured in the device. We collect data on all illegal activities within the GMAs and also within national parks, all information on fishing, poaching, timber harvesting, anything new on encroachment. Anyone that's used CyberTracker before knows how customizable these data models are. So really you can use it for whatever is most important and most interesting for you on site. We also record all wildlife observations. And then finally, I just wanted to highlight with this new kiosk mode that we have in Smart Mobile, it's a real game changer for myself on the ground, as well as many sites that I know. We were paying upwards of $100 per device to keep the devices locked down to Smart. Now that that's in Smart, it's an absolutely wonderful addition. Cool, next slide, please, Drew. All right, so this is just, I think this has been covered by a few people before me as well, but one of the greatest additions to Smart Mobile from my mind from using on the ground is this being able to change transport types on the fly. Anyone that's used CyberTracker knows having to exit your patrol and re-enter your whole patrol has always been a bit of a sticky spot, whereas now it can happen almost instantly and makes recording our coverage efforts by different transport types much better. So that's just a big ups to Smart Mobile. Cool, so this is how it looks on the device. As you can see from this slide and also from previous people's slides today, it was all nicely iconized. So places that maybe don't speak very good, have very good literacy skills, hopefully Smart Mobile will ease some of those challenges. It also just makes it look a little bit more exciting when you're teaching it to people. And also we find it just a lot more useful on the ground. So here's just an example of how we would record a firearm found on the ground. Pretty straightforward there. It's very similar, as previous people have said, to CyberTracker. It's just a little bit more of a modern and user-friendly interface. Cool. And again, just showing you how the icons work and how we save our patrols. Cool. One of the other things that is also incredible and we've been finding very useful on the ground is the use of this new mapping function. So being able to see exactly where you've been on the ground, I know has always been an issue for our teams and our rangers, unless they have a GPS. And often, as we know in these national parks and things with money limited, sometimes it's not possible for a GPS and a smart device. So this hopefully helps alleviate that issue quite a lot. The teams are able to then see what they recorded where. So if they need to recircle back to an area to see where they found those snares or to see where they found certain illegal activities, it's really helpful for them. Cool. And then just as a finish off for the anti-poaching side of things, Using Smart Mobile it's changing the way we do our patrols on the ground. It means that we are very, very swiftly able to come back from our daily patrols and plan where we're going next. And it's able to be fully seen from managers on the ground what their rangers are doing on the ground as well. And this is from a system where we don't have any network coverage. We don't have any GSM network in the park. So although those alerts are wonderful and they're very fast, for us, using Smart Mobile is the fastest way we can get that information from the field to the decision makers. And it's changing the way we do patrols, and it really is helping us catch poachers and lock down areas as best we can. Wonderful. Oh, sorry, my slides are just a little bit delayed here. So one of the other uses, which I think is becoming very popular, or I've noticed is becoming very popular across Africa at least, is many people wanting to use Smart Mobile for human-wildlife conflict. And that's absolutely wonderful. We have a few sites running on human-wildlife conflict now. These sites are using it for regular human-wildlife conflict monitoring patrols. They are using the devices to report conflict incident reports. They are using information directly from Smart Mobile to create human-wildlife conflict community workshop reports. And we are also using Smart Mobile for our lion guardianship programs in partnership with Panthera for recording our lions and our troubled lions and that kind of thing. So what this does, having it with human-wildlife conflict, which is quite amazing, is it allows us rapid interpretation of conflict incidents. And you can see on the left-hand side here is a couple demonstrations of the types of information we get out of Smart Mobile pretty much immediately at the end of the month or the end of the week, or however frequently you're downloading your Smart Mobile device. So we can start to see which animals are causing us the most harm, which areas are our highest hotspot areas, and based on the information you put into your human-wildlife conflict database, you can start to see which mitigation techniques are maybe working in certain areas and which mitigation techniques are not. Yeah, so we've been finding it very useful. Anyone who works in human-wildlife conflict, I think, knows that the amount of paper going back and forth and the amount of data entry you usually are doing by hand is quite cumbersome. So with Smart Mobile, the hope is to cut down on a lot of that manual data entry that I've noticed happening across Africa with a lot of human-wildlife conflict sites. Cool. And so just to show you how this can potentially look on the device. So we have a crop damage incident that took place. So they've selected crop damage. It was an elephant that caused the crop damage. And then you have your very long or short list of questions based on your needs at site. So for here, the date of the incident, what the species was, any evidence of the animal, all of those kinds of questions. How much of the crop did they raid? What was the growth stage, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's a nice, easy interface for wildlife conflict monitors to be using. Cool. And then just finally, before I finish this, is just to let you know about a couple of other ways I'm also using Smart Mobile, and just to encourage people to really explore how they can use Smart Mobile to benefit their data collection and to benefit their everyday life. So we use it here with Panthera for our biodiversity monitoring. We use it for all of our spore transects, all of our observation transects we do on the ground. It means we've completely stopped using paper, which is wonderful. And we are able to get the GPS points very quickly and not have to look at our GPS, write it down, it's then and there. We use it for our camera trapping. It keeps really good track of where all our cameras are deployed in the field, when they were deployed, how they were deployed, so we don't lose them. Sites we have using it for rhino tracking, and also we're using it for our carnivore tracking on the ground too. One other final way we're using it as well is we have citizen science programs that are using it very similarly to other citizen science programs, but they basically use the device, the Smart Mobile, when they go on their game drives. And then it's an easy way for us to get a better idea of what's happening across these large national parks and areas. So basically, the come out from this is just, you can use Smart Mobile in so many different ways. And my advice to anyone who has any ideas about these things is just to ask questions and we can help you, and just explore, basically. So yeah, that's it for me.
Thanks, yeah. Okay, great. So we are now going to go over to Zangir, and Zangir, you're going to share from your screen. Just to note that you're muted, so.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, well, this is Jahangir from Bangladesh. I work for WCS Bangladesh as a country representative. I will just give an overview about the data collection, smart data collection using the cyber tracker in Bangladesh. We actually used it in Sundarbans. So I will go through my presentation and give you an idea that how we improved from the earlier system to the cyber tracker system. Actually, from 2014 to 2016, we provided training to Forest Department in Sundarbans on the use of GPS and then data collection with the pen and paper. At that time, we found that it's really important for them to have an easy system to enter the data. And this time we actually works in the wildlife sanctuaries for freshwater dolphin in the Sundarbans, and later on it was expanded to all of our Sundarbans. So we also found that data managers are at the end of the month unable to produce a report, and because of the difficulties of data entry from the paper. And then we found this cyber tracker actually, and we found it as an easy and effective solution for them. And also we saw that data manager can produce report quickly if they can use the cyber tracker, and it will help them to quick transfer of data from the field to the station. And we saw that it will be very effective for them for enforcing the laws and also wildlife monitoring in their respective sites. So we started thinking of this cyber tracker, and then we planned for training later on. In 2016, we introduced the cyber tracker with the handheld device CEDAR CT7 and also CEDAR CT5 for the Bangladesh Forest Department frontline staff who are doing a smart patrol in Sundarbans. And then in at that time, actually, this was like we demonstrated them that how easy it could be, and the different functionality of the cyber tracker to make their life easy. And in 2017, we start intensive training for Bangladesh Forest Department on the use of cyber tracker for smart data collection in the Sundarbans.
Zangir, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to let you know that your slides aren't advancing, so you're still on your title slide.
Okay. How about now? Is it working?
It is not. Still on the title slide.
Is it working now?
There you go.
Okay. Okay. Sorry for that. So as I was telling that in 2017, we have started the intensive training with cyber tracker data collection for the Forest Department staffs in Sundarbans. And cyber tracker actually made a huge improvement for smart data collection and entry, and also made the reporting easier for the data manager, and also it was more accurate for the Bangladesh Forest Department. At the end of the month, they were able to produce the report, and they were able to use the information to improve their field patrols. And also they use the information from the report as a decision-making process for the entire Sundarbans. And for cyber tracker training, actually at the beginning, we selected those who were good in smart patrolling with the GPS and pen and paper, and who was having a knowledge on English and also computer skills. These were set as prerequisite for them for the first training on cyber tracker, and basically for the training of trainer, so that they can train their own people later on once they learn the cyber tracker. And at that time, actually during 2014 to 2018, we trained more than 300 Forest Department staffs on the use of cyber tracker, and also generating report. It was like we trained more than 40 staffs as a TOT, and then we trained the frontline staffs. It was about 240. So we used the TOT as a trainer also during this basic training in the field, while we provided training on cyber tracker data collection and law enforcement in the Sundarbans. And beside this, we also felt that the data manager needs rigorous training on reporting and understanding the data. So we provided training to 31 mid-level Forest Department staffs having computer skills and English knowledge on the smart software and producing the report. And all this training actually included different sessions like data collection with cyber tracker, installed handheld devices, and then data input from cyber tracker to the computer, and then quality check by the patrol team later, and then debriefing a patrol observation to the team. So this allows them to understand that what they did on the day, and by looking at to their data on screen. And after each of the training, we did some competency test for all the trainees, at how they are learning and what is their performance in terms of learning, what is the skill, and who needs improvement and who did well, so that later on we can sort the staffs for next level of training. And after doing all this training, when they started using cyber tracker in the field, we thought that there is a need of mentoring to the field staffs, because if they face any trouble in the forest, then their patrol will be lost. So we provided mentoring to them during the year 2018 with our own staff who has knowledge on SMARTs. And later on, we also provided mentoring to the data manager and senior BFD officials, so that they can generate a report and they can provide feedback to the next patrol team, and also they can use the information for decision-making process of the conservation area. So for now, actually, we are thinking that what we should do in future. Now we will be doing a new project starting in this year, and we are thinking about this smart mobile apps, because it has a lot of improvement we saw already in the different presentation of earlier presenters. So we wanna see that happening in Bangladesh. So we wanna improve our patrolling system, patrol data collection system from the cyber tracker to this smart mobile, and we wanna ensure the competency of collecting high quality data by the rangers who are doing patrols in Sundarbans, and also in the other side of the country. And we are actually thinking to provide more mentoring to the Smart Petrol team and also to the data manager on the use of devices, data collection and patrolling, and as well as generating the report and also understanding the report. Then we are planning to develop a national smart strategy and national smart strategy for the smart enforcement across the country, including the terrestrial sites, including the marine sites. And we are planning to mentor patrols across the country's protected areas, because now actually there are like about 25 protected areas where Bangladesh Forest Department plan to do the smart patrol. They already started playing with the with the handheld devices installed with Cyber Tracker. They are learning it, and in near future they will rigorously use the system for their protected area management. And we are also focusing on developing a smart standard procedure for both the marine and terrestrial sites of the country, because without having any standard operating procedure, they cannot do a better job. And across the world, actually, every site needs a standard operating procedure, wherever it is terrestrial or marine. So these are the plan for now, and we are moving forward with this plan of actions. Thank you all for listening to me.
Great, thanks, Sangdir. So I am just going to, if you'll bear with me 1 second here, throw up a slide with the contact information, and then we're going to jump into the questions y'all have submitted and try to get through a bunch of those, okay? Just a reminder, if you do have questions, to please submit them into the Q&A. We're still taking those. We still have time. We've got about 20 minutes for questions. We're going to go through the prioritized ones now, and then we'll try to answer the ones we can't get to on the forum. The other thing I want to mention is, as this is in the background, just a reminder that we'll be sharing the recording of the webinar. We'll be posting it online. We'll share the links for you all, and we'll share the links on the screen as well. So at the top, that's our social media, that's our website. The general email, if you have any sort of questions, is info@smartconservationsoftware.org. If you go to the website, which there's a little screenshot down here in the bottom left, and click on forum, that's the Smart Community Forum. And that's the primary place for answers, questions and answers about SMART. We really try to push as much as we can into that forum. Apologies for the dog barking in the background. Because that way, if you ask a question, it's very likely that someone else has the question too. So really, as much as you can, we try to direct all questions to the forum. And then again, if you go on the website and you go to support, there's a link there for the Smart Mobile Manual, or if you type in bit.ly, the bit.ly link there, that'll take you right to the Smart Mobile Manual. And a lot of the questions that are coming up are answered specifically in the manual. So I'd recommend checking that out. So that being said, thanks again to all the presenters today. That was great. Really appreciate you guys taking the time. And then I want to get into the questions. So I've closed the window. The first one we're going to do is from Mara Hernandez. Is it possible to lay line transects over the map on mobile? Also, is there somewhere where I can see all the offline functionalities that mobile has? Alex, you want to take that one?
Sorry, Drew, can you repeat that?
Yeah, is it possible to lay line transects over the map on mobile? Also, is there somewhere where I can see all the offline functionalities that mobile has?
Yeah, I think you would have to use shapefiles to do that, and update your base map. That's the only way that can really be done.
Okay. Yeah, and I do think moving forward, as most of you know, SMART is a continuum. So SMART 7 will be coming out probably late this year, early 2021, and the idea is that we'll be able to pull a lot more of the base map functionality from SMART into SMART Mobile as well. So the next one is in CyberTracker, when you export data, this is from LCB, it cleans from their devices. And on Smart Mobile, when they click the export data function, sorry, my questions. When they click the export data function, does it mean the same thing happens there as well? So I'm going to pass that over to James. Can you take that one?
Hi, LCB. Yes, absolutely. It does the same thing as CyberTracker before. It will remove the data from the device as soon as it's been plugged in and you've decided to import. And the same goes for Smart Connect. When you upload the information and you export it from the device, it will register on the device until it's completely been uploaded, and then it will remove that data from the device just to ensure that you're not having a huge backlog of information stored on your mobile device. So yeah.
Great. Okay, so the next one is a question that, to be honest, comes up, every couple of months. This question resurfaces on the community forum. So this is from Barry Mulligan. Any advice on phones that are best for using Smart Mobile? We are looking at piloting Smart for MPA, so marine protected areas under development in Sao Tome and Principe, and currently considering Blackview BV8000 Pros, but haven't reviewed options. So the question that comes up in the community forum all the time is what hardware we should use. And officially we don't have any recommendations because the partnership doesn't endorse any particular hardware or organization, but also the stuff is changing so rapidly. So a couple things to keep in mind. With Smart Mobile, you need to be using an Android device as of now. iOS is on the way, but it's not released yet. The Android device needs to be using Android 4.4 or higher or newer. The recommendation I would say is that you should try to get the newest and most rugged device you can relative to your budget. So I know a number of folks, and I'm sure each person on this call has a perspective on particular devices, but I say a number of people have been using the Blackview devices for years now just because of the price point. They're very rugged, and they're much cheaper than things like the Cedar CT5 and things like that, which are being phased out. I know from at least recently, we bought a number of the Blackview 9500 Plus or 9500 Pro. I can never remember if it's Plus or Pro. And they've worked really well. They're very solid. They've got 10,000 milliamp hour battery, IP68 rated, military grade, and the GPS works really well. I mean, we've bought, I don't know, something like 20 to 40 of them in the last, 8 months, I guess. It's been a while since we've been in the field, but they've worked really well. I've never used the BV8000s. I know other folks have. BV6000s worked really well as well. Any other strong feelings on that from anybody else on the call?
I think it's just the key things to look at with any of these is how rugged is the device, how long is the battery life going to last, as well as the GPS connectivity. Most of these bigger devices, they use a combination of GPS and GLONASS, and so you're getting a much stronger connection than you would with, say, a regular Samsung phone. That's sort of what you're looking for. You want to ensure that you've got that connection, that your device is not competing with other applications, and that even if you're moving under canopy or moving at speed, it will maintain that connection. So really important features to look at when selecting a device, especially if you're going to be in a marine protected area, you're working on a boat or on the water quite a bit. You want that device to be fairly water resistant or waterproof and have a good strong connection.
Yeah, And I would add there's a pretty good, we can maybe just share the link to this. There's a pretty good discussion about the sort of cost benefits of different functionalities with respect to mobile devices on the forum. You know, talking about the GPS sensitivity, the ruggedness, you know, and what have you. Often, I would say it's worth spending $300 on a really rugged device rather than spending $100 on devices that aren't rugged and getting 3 of them. You're going to get more bang for your buck out of the $300 one. And then with respect to the MPAs, I know this is sort of a silly thing, but you know, it's one thing I would recommend with specifically on the saltwater, and maybe Zamgir has thoughts on this as well, is you might want to keep it in like one of those pouches to kind of just keep the salt water off of it, or you know, one of the ones that has the little floaty around the outside in case it was to fall in, and that way you're not going to lose it if it falls overboard. Just something to consider. Any thoughts, Zamgir, from your side?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Actually, you are exactly pointed that they need the rugged device, and if it is if it is connected with the floating stuff, then that will help. And in Bangladesh, actually, we tried at the beginning with the CT5 and CT7, but those are the device having a charger plug-in difficulties, because sometimes people put the charger on the opposite direction, so they breaks inside. And later on, we found actually 6,800 Blackview. And that model works pretty fine, because the charging port, it is like you can insert the charger in any direction. There is no difficulties or trouble to plug it, and there is no chance of breaking the connections inside. So that's one source of actually consideration people need to be think of.
Right, thanks. Okay, so at the risk of taking all of the Q&A to discuss hardware, which I know we could, we'll go on to the next one. This one I'm going to pass over to Zia. Does the device need to be connected to the internet? And what about the area where there is no access of network as well? Does the mobile have certain specifications of tools such as GPS?
Oh, thanks for that, Drew, and thanks, Mohammed, for the question. The answer to that question is pretty simple. It's just like with CyberTracker, if you've used it before. Basically, no, you do not need any kind of internet connection. SMART has been designed in a way that it suits people in the field like myself, who have no specific network connection in the field. So basically, yeah, your answer is no, you don't need any internet connection. If you do have internet connection, that is wonderful, and it does open up a whole extra set and suite of tools such as the alerts, but otherwise, no, it is fully functional offline. And then in terms of the GPS settings, as we actually just discussed with the other devices, there is not really any specific GPS settings that are needed. Well, there's specific settings, sorry, on the device that are needed, but any kind of cell phone has the correct GPS for Smart Mobile. But in saying that, just to put it in there, that some of these devices that are more rugged tend to have better GPSs than others. However, for our patrol teams, where we're often in thick bush and things, then we do try to get devices with good GPSs. But for things like my citizen science program, we just use basic Samsung mobile phones, and they also work 100% fine with the GPS settings that they have.
Cool, thanks, Zia. So just on to the next question, which I'm actually going to come back to you, Zia. Ian had mentioned that this could potentially be great for aerial census patrols, and that there are critics in Kenya saying that by the time you record an observation, you're well past the location. Is that an option in Smart Mobile to save GPS coordinates before logging details? So the quick answer to that, Ian, is yes. There's a configuration in Smart that you can click on that's, I forget exactly what it's called, but it's use instantaneous GPS. So maybe Zia, you can speak to this, but basically as soon as you start the observation, it takes the GPS point as opposed to taking it on the back end. Zia, anything to add on that for aerial patrols?
Yeah, so I'll just add on to that one quickly. Yeah, so 100% what you just said, Drew. We have also had some of the same critics from discussing about the aerial patrols, and that has historically been an issue. Obviously, when you're flying, you fly over the GPS point, and the GPS point's taken a long time after. That instantaneous GPS point, yes, it takes the waypoint as soon as you click the button, and then you fill in the information thereon afterwards. And then just to respond while we're on aerial patrols to a couple other aerial patrol questions. Probably the biggest one is just to do with is there a customized model? And that is no, but it can be customized however you want. So often for aerial patrols, we just try and make it as simple as possible in the air and then enter some more information in the computer later on.
Great. Okay, so the next question will be, this is from Nia from Indonesia. Is Smart Mobile able to get polygon output data and calculate the area using the track feature? For example, if there's a forest fire, we can calculate the area by walking around the edge of the fire area. So I'm going to pass it over to Denton.
Cool, thanks Nia for the question. No is the answer to the best of my knowledge at the moment. So yeah, you can still walk around the border of the fire burn, but it's not going to give you the option to calculate the polygon area.
Okay, so the next question we've got, so actually, just quickly, this is a quick answer. So this is from Maria Cristina Contreras. Good day. Is it possible to offer this course in Spanish? Thank you. You're joining from Chiapas, Mexico. So I would say that probably we can't answer this specific webinar. I don't think anyone here is completely fluent in Spanish. I'm sure there's varying degrees of Spanish fluency. But what I would say is that SMART makes a real effort, the partnership makes a real effort to make materials available in a number of different languages. So if you want to follow up by email, there is a SMART training manual in Spanish. The SMART mobile manual, I don't think has been translated yet, but likely will be translated in the near future by the partnership or one of its partners. And then theoretically, although we don't have a specific training set up, if you do want to reach out, there's likely somebody in the partnership we could connect you with that could help with translation or give a training such as this in Spanish. There's a number of folks like from WCS Colombia that are really well versed in this usage. So do reach out. And that goes, that's the same, not just for Spanish, but most languages around the world. Like I said earlier, we're in over 65 countries, and throughout the partnership, we've got a lot of different languages covered. I think the Smart Desktop is available in 11, 12 different languages. And I think the mobile is just natively translated into 10, 15 languages. I can't recall off the top of my head. But it is, we are making every effort to make it as applicable and available as possible to folks around the world.
Just to add, Drew,
yeah,
I think what's important is that most of us that are working in the SMART partnership here are all volunteers. We're working through our various organizations to support this. So for these kinds of events and materials and training materials and things that we put together, we're always looking for more people that can support translations. And if they would like to host webinars and things like this in your own language, then please just reach out to the partnership. We can help provide many of these materials, such as the presentations and things, can be made open source. So we can help support that if you are interested in doing this in your own area. You just need to reach out. Thanks.
Great, thanks, James. So just a couple more minutes in terms of questions. So the next one is from Ko Hugh. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing. We encountered that the track was not properly recorded. The track shows a straight line from observation point to point. Is that due to the phone model? Tony, any thoughts on that? There's
a number of reasons why that would happen. One reason would be that somebody's got the device in their pocket and it's not actually getting a signal from the satellite. So there could be a break in transmission, meaning that there are no track logs being recorded. It could also be that the track log is set to something like 300 seconds. But I think the default in CyberTracker is 300 seconds. So if that's the case, then your device will only be dropping the track logs every 5 minutes. That's another reason. Yeah, sometimes the accuracy of the GPS receiver in the phone varies. So the quality of the device may be a factor there. But as was mentioned previously, many of the new devices, the new Android devices, and especially the Blackviews, they have very good receivers that can pick up signals from all the different GPS satellite networks. So it's unlikely that you'd have that issue with the new devices.
Great, thanks. Okay, so in the essence of time, let's just answer 2 more quick questions. I'm just going to rattle these off really quick. Joseph Naminda, can you type coordinates and navigate to them? No, you cannot just yet. In the functionality in the future, with the next release with Smart 7, should have more go-to functionality. But as of yet, you can't just type in coordinates. You can, for instance, highlight specific items and go to them, specific observations and go to them, but you can't type in coordinates yet and navigate to them. I would just say watch this space for Smart 7. And then the next one, really quickly, does Smart require one to code/build information, or is it by default? So that's one of the key things about Smart. It doesn't require coding. It does require some sort of technical background to some extent with the use of databases and regular sort of computer software applications, but it's generally speaking not a very complex tool. It can become more complex, like some of the things we talked about today, like Alex's example with the alerts and real-time response and connectivity. It can become more complex, but it doesn't need to be. It can be as simple as just recording basic observations in the field and looking at the analyses when you get back to the office. So it definitely does not require one to code. So with that, we are pretty much out of time. I just want to keep that in mind. I know we've answered a number of questions, but there's still a few more that we haven't gotten to. And I know everyone's busy. So let's wrap up here. I just want to say thanks again to all of the panelists for taking the time to speak today. Thanks again to all the participants for joining. Again, please keep an eye out in the next couple of days. We'll be sharing the recording and links and additional questions. And then please do think about joining the Smart Forum, where you will be able to get sort of up-to-the-date information from folks in the field about what's happening, questions, other issues that people are having, and troubleshooting. Anything else anyone wants to add before we wrap up today?
Just thanks to everyone for joining and taking the time to listen through this. We're very excited about this tool, and I hope it can help you in the field there. Thanks again.
Great. All right, thanks everyone. We will be in touch via email after this. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
everyone.
Thanks all. Good luck.